Havana Syndrome. Episode 5, SIGINT.
What do you mean, half the internet? How was this publicized? We never talked to the press or put anything online. D.
Don't look at me. I haven't done anything.
Don't make this more than it needs to be. Most of these people are true crime nerds. What you should be worried about is the fact that you have your phone number still up on your wedding website. Lupe. It was crazy easy to find. And then, of course, find your house.
Are you one of these true crime nerds? Are you on TikTok?
I don't associate with those whitewashed amateurs, but that's not the point. The fact is, it's not just true crime nerds. There's been a leak from intelligence agencies too. Enough for determined civilians to pick up on Reddit and elsewhere.
Are you one of these determined civilians then?
Hardly.
Wait, did you actually go into ROTC?
You remember that? Ha! Yeah, got the good old talking to after junior year. Rebelled enough so that I'm in the reserves now. Enough training to make me dangerous.
Where are people talking about this?
Don't worry, I'm getting there. First, it was just army gossip on my signal groups about some CIA officer that went AWOL. Lots of people talking about Snowden and Manning. The name Menendez started going up in my virtual gossip circles. It caught my eye. I just knew where to look. Honestly, I don't recommend going down that rabbit hole. Most folks think it's connected to, well, the murders.
Murders? What murders?
People are still talking about that?
As far as I know, y'all are a different set of Menendez Cubans. Don't worry about it. Like I said, don't go down the rabbit hole. When I could easily find current activity on the both of you and none on Junie. I just figured it was the eldest sibling that was the spook that ghosted.
So why are you contacting us?
I know what it's like to have a missing sister. And when I heard your dad was arrested, I don't know. It felt like the government was throwing its weight around at the wrong people.
Is our family drama that much public knowledge?
I know we weren't friends for long, but I know your family. You were all good people to me when I was an annoying 13-year-old, you know? And then I got this weird voicemail, and I figured I should help where I can.
The voicemail? From who?
That's the weird thing. It was you, but not. I'm pretty sure it was someone who recorded a recording of you talking to Junie and then sent that recording to me as a voicemail.
That was probably Junie. What was the number?
That's the really weird thing. It didn't come from anywhere. There was no heading, no metadata, no phone number, not even listed as unknown. It's like it just appeared in my voicemail. I don't have the equipment for any serious backtracking, but I couldn't even tell what kind of device it was sent from. But I agree. I think it was your sister. And I think she wants me to help you guys find her. The clip she sent me, it was Dee talking about, I don't know, about flying 3,000 miles, and that it was some kind of sign to get you and Lupe to find her.
We do know where to find her. Cuba.
D.
Why Cuba?
We're thinking that Junie is investigating Havana Syndrome, or something like that.
No, that's not what we think. Listen, Nat, I don't think we should be talking about this to anyone, let alone at a time when, you know, there are people surveilling us.
I mean, this Faraday cage thing you've got working on keeps people from listening in. We're fine. So, what's this thing about Havana Syndrome?
We think she has Havana Syndrome, and it messed with her brain. It's not a conspiracy, it's a mental health crisis.
Havana Syndrome. That's... I saw a few posts that the officer who disappeared had something to do with bioweapons. You know what? I bet I could dig deeper for you. There are plenty of forums on Havana Syndrome, mostly filled with conspiracy theories, but maybe that's how Junie's disappearance leaked to the public.
Yeah, if you can find out if there's any connection to Cambodia, too, that's where she was stationed. Maybe Junie has already been leaving clues for us on the internet, and that's why she wanted you to get in touch.
I have a few search engines that can make this a quick review.
Hold on. Nope. No. Stop. We are leaving this to the professionals. Not two people who are barely past drinking age.
Oh, yeah? You want to leave this to the professionals that are wiretapping you?
And thanks for the heads up. Seriously. But that's not your problem. It's barely our problem. Except for those of us who are play-acting detective, there's nothing for us to do.
You're the one who helped Junie get to Cuba in the first place.
Wait, she did what?
And I deeply regret that. Andy, can you not divulge potentially arrest-worthy material to people?
She has information that can help.
This is already a clusterfuck. We don't need anyone else potentially committing espionage on behalf of the Menendez family. Thanks, Nat. Have a good life.
Hey!
I don't want whoever is in that white van, if there even is one, to get any more suspicious than that whole thing just was.
Don't you have this Faraday cage thing, whatever that is?
It's a hobby. And it's not foolproof, okay? It was something I've been working on, and that friend of yours probably learned about it because she's stalking my Reddit posts and... Look, we can't talk to her. We could easily be picked up on charges of conspiracy.
You don't know that. You're not a lawyer. What are you doing? We have someone who can help us find Junie.
How many times do I have to tell you, Dee? We are not going to find Junie. It's not our job.
That is right. We can't trust that the government has Junie's best interest at heart. We do, though. And we have people who are actually willing to help, not just prosecute us for sharing the same last name.
Maybe I should have taken marks then.
Guadalupe Danielle Menendez.
You know that's more effective when Mom says it.
I can't believe you don't care. Junie is trying everything in her power to connect the dots for you, and you just ignore it. She left that message for you. She basically directed me to fly here to talk with you. She got Nat to find you. Junie wants us to find her.
Then why hasn't she contacted me? Why didn't Junie tell me what was going on? What she was suffering under? She said she was harassed. Did she not trust me? Did she not think I could help? I wanted to go with her. I didn't tell anyone. Not even Mark. I told her to her face that I wanted to go. I told her that she would be better off going into Cuba with someone she trusted. But no. She said this was something she had to do alone. She even left early, I think, just to make sure I didn't have the chance to follow her. Why would she just leave us like this? And if she actually wanted us to find her, why didn't she bring me with her in the first place? I don't want to play whatever game Junie is playing, Dee. I can't.
Maybe she was just as much in the dark then as we are now. Hasn't she always been like this, diving headfirst into a mess without checking how deep? Remember Brian?
Of course, I remember that asshole. Took her long enough to ditch him.
Who did she turn to when she needed a time out from him? Who let her crash on their couch while Junie figured herself out? We're the ones she turns to, especially when shit hits the fan. Yeah, even when it's self-inflicted. We're the only ones she can trust. Can't you see that? Lupe?
Fine. All right. Do your hacker thing. Text us when you have something.
Oh. Okay. Don't twist my arm about it.
I'll make a group chat. Lupe can give me your number and...
Lupe, make sure he uses the same app I sent you.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. Talk soon.
What app was she talking about?
SIGINT. It's kind of like Signal. A little less well-known and a little more secure. According to some people I've talked to, it's using quantum computing to manage its encryption.
Cool. No idea what that means.
Don't worry about it. But if your pen pal thinks it'll keep the government from spying on us, all the better.
She's not my pen pal. Hasn't been for a while.
What happened?
Nothing, really. It was when we moved to Italy, when we exchanged a few letters for a while. I still have the little comic she made me in an old book bag somewhere in Mom and Dad's house. Or maybe it's still in storage. Anyway, Then, after a while, we were in our new life, new house, new school, and...
Yeah.
I mean, I'm used to it, right? I don't talk to anyone from our various high schools anymore, either. Well, I see him on social media, but... yeah, I feel kind of guilty. I was the one who dropped off our pen pal agreement, and here Nat is, jumping right back in to be a friend.
Dee, clearly Nat was your friend. I still think we need to be careful. Talking about what's happening with family is one thing, but let's just be judicious, okay?
You don't think she's some kind of mole?
I'm not thinking anything, but you know what Dad always says.
It's not paranoia if they really are out to get you.
And look who got caught. We need to be careful, Dee. Especially now.
Hello, I'm not walking into a bloodbath, am I? I don't want to have to eat all this dung po pork all by myself. Oh, what's it? It's falling into my mouth. Oh, so good. You're missing out.
Hey, Adriene. So, I guess it's good that Nat told us about the basement. Now I can talk to you without your colleagues spying on me. Hopefully. There really is a van parked down the block. Been there all day, far as we can tell. I guess if they haven't broken down the door, they haven't picked up on our extra communication. Or maybe they're hoping that we'll lead them to you? Jesus, Junie, how did you keep these spy games straight in your head? It's maddening. Huh. I guess it's very possible that's why we're in this situation in the first place. Either way, I think I finally convinced Lupe to at least use the tools at our disposal to figure out where you've gone. If you actually disappeared in Havana or somewhere else. Nat is convinced you're holed up somewhere, but not enough that you don't receive these messages I'm sending you. So, not a Faraday cage of any kind. Lupe told her not to sign off on the idea that you're bouncing around the world like some demented Carmen Sandiego. I don't know what I think. Maybe it's a little bit of both? That doesn't make sense, though. Lupe told us a little more about who she put you in contact with. Some friend of hers owns a boat in the Keys, and that friend knows someone who takes their own unauthorized trips to Cuba. Lupe's trying to get in touch with them again, see if there's a trail to be picked up. At least she didn't tell the feds about that. She thinks that this friend of her friend probably disappeared herself so she wouldn't be picked up. It's weird. It's a small enough world for Lupe to know some dude who rubs elbows with smugglers, but it's a big enough world that a schooner can just disappear out in the open ocean. Rochelle sent me a picture of my plants. They're doing okay under her guidance, but I can tell Charlotte is less vibrant than usual. She can tell I'm gone every time I leave, I swear. I'll send you pics. Hopefully you get them, and not just the audio. Alright. I should probably go to sleep. Nothing more for me to do today. I've already flown 3,000 miles for you. So, if you do need anything else, let me know. I miss you, Junie. Love you. Night. Well, if it is night, wherever you are.
Voice note sent.
I don't even know what to say to you. But if you're still receiving these, fuck it. Dad's still in questioning. Apparently they have enough of him abusing his security clearance that they can hold him overnight. I don't know where you are, Junie, or what stakes you're playing at. But if there's something you can do to get him out, please. I don't know why I'm treating you like some guardian angel. You sure as hell aren't one. Mark says that someone called his work, asking him about him and his connections to our family. I don't like what this is doing to me, Junie. I need more than what you've given Dee and Nat. I need to know that this has something more to do with us than just the fact that you're my blood. I don't know what this is. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I told Dee that we needed to let the professionals handle it. And it's not just because I feel he's ill-equipped, but because I don't think I am either. I'm a jack of all trades, but a master of none. The only reason I knew to send you to Franklin was because we hung out on his boat after finals. Who am I to throw in with international intrigue? I was hoping you'd invite me along on this journey with you. It's not like I'm dissatisfied with my life here. I love my house. I love my husband. I love my job. But I always wonder, what it would be like if I chose differently. If I chose like you. None of this makes sense. It's been a long day. If you get this, I do care. I'm just really, really pissed at you. The next time I see you, you're getting hell, okay? So I better see you soon. I love you. Bye.
Voice note sent.
Good evening, team. Well, it's probably early morning for you all right now, so you probably won't get this until you wake up. I may or may not be asleep in time for your replies. We'll see how far this rabbit hole gets me. I've been digging into Havana Syndrome messaging boards, open source and my own channels, of course, since 2016 when it hit the news more consistently. It seems to have died down a bit. Like you all know, the last bit of relevant news was the health benefits set aside to the people who've suffered from Havana Syndrome. It's mostly fallen off of people's radar since then, but there are a few cadres of passionate truth seekers out there. From what I gather, it's been almost totally quiet in the military, intelligence, security circles. The general consensus is that the issue has been identified and addressed. Most government officials have some kind of training now to avoid being attacked by whatever energy or sound weapon was being used against them. Others are mostly convinced it was a bunch of diplomats who had way too much rum and wanted to drum up antipathy towards Cuba during a time where we were just reopening relations. Which, fair. But that's not why I'm messaging you. That's not what I found. It started by me checking out your average conspiracy theory boards, cross-referencing your sister's name. I don't know why this didn't occur to me sooner, but I think your sister had an alias, and that alias has left tracks. On one of the InfoSec boards I looked into, someone responded to a comment left behind about the unnamed intelligence official who went AWOL. Most of the responses were a little too QAnon for my taste, but this one caught my eye. It was a link to a form. Just your regular private WordPress form. And the name of this form is Who is Judy Carpenter? I'm awaiting acceptance into the form now.
Voice note sent.
Agent Celia Whittiker, 2317-617. Badge ID, Juliet Tango Tango, 033-1614. Personal case notes. I am currently in Vancouver, Canada, sitting in a disguised cable company van. My colleague from the RMCP is currently making the rounds of the neighborhood on foot to check for any suspicious activity. Not sure why. I think all the activity is right here. Dimitri Menendez arrived at his sister's house this afternoon at around 1500 hours. As far as we know, he took a car share directly to the house, no side quests. He only brought with him a carry-on sized duffel, so I expect this was a fairly impulsive decision. Our TSA contacts at MCO did not identify any concerning materials. At around 1600 hours, Lupe received a call. I was able to trace it to a Boston area code before the call dropped after less than a minute of conversation. The trace faced a bit of a hiccup. It was a throwaway number, but we were able to get an email. We were also able to determine that Lupe Menendez is not as forthcoming as she seems. She apparently has some kind of Faraday cage set up in her basement. Considering her background in electrical engineering, this is not necessarily unusual. From her Instagram page, she has been known to show off similar hobbyist projects. Reminds me of my brother, actually. Burned his fingers more often than not. At least Lupe seems to be a bit more careful with live wires. However, the fact that they moved inside of it mid-conversation does indicate that the family is likely aware of surveillance. I have contacted Agent Foreman to advise on next steps. He's requested relieving my position here so I can brief the home office in Miami. I don't really see the point. It seems like he doesn't take our possible break and cover seriously. In any case, I've made sure to keep anyone in this house from seeing me. If our cover's blown, at least it's the Mounties who have to worry about it. In the meantime, if we're going to be getting nothing useful from our mics, I figured it was a good idea to keep going down this email thread. I know our open source analyst could have done this for me, but since our mic was dead this evening, I did it myself. It was certainly unique, and I was able to find a number of Reddit forums with that contributor, including a forum on Army intelligence. In fact, there seems to be some chatter about Havana syndrome that I had not yet been made aware of. There seem to be some links to other forums, other websites, Discord servers. I don't know if it'll be a wild goose chase, but perhaps something will link back to Juniper. My flight to Miami is pending. I'm going to see if I can stick around long enough to see what the Menendez siblings do next.
You can join Nat on the forum, now open to all users. Who is JudyCarpenter.com? The clues are already there. Dimitri Menendez is played by Ralph Ruiz. Guadalupe Menendez is played by Adriene Arce. Natalie Johnson is played by Natalie Campos. Mark Williams is played by Nick Folson. Special Agent Celia Whittiker is played by Whitney Johnson. Havana Syndrome is written and produced by Lisette Alvarez. This is a Stormfire Productions podcast. Thank you for listening.